Morgan County Jeeps, and welcome to another episode of FCJ Jeep Talk. Today our guest is Raymond Barnes, former president, former social media coordinator, and all-around Jeep guy taking care of all of our club stuff for a while. He did a great job at it.
Thank you.
How you doing, Raymond?
Good, sir.
Thank you
Good
for
to
being
see
our
you.
guest.
You're welcome.
What got you into the Jeep life, or how'd you get started in the Jeep life?
I got my first Jeep at 16 years old. My dad bought it when I was 14, and he drove it for a couple of years. It was a 78 CJ7 Golden
Nice.
Eagle Daisy Duke Jeep.
I think I'd seen a picture of it once.
Yeah, white with the gold. And I didn't do much off-roading with that. Not dedicated off-roading. Go to some friends' farms and mess around and get in trouble, and didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know I was supposed to be in 4-low, and tore a lot of stuff up with it. But you know, that's where it got started. And even before that, I had a 3-wheeler when I was a young teenager, and I used to off-road that all the time on mom and dad's property. So that's where the bug kind of bit me. And then I sold the Jeep before I was 20 and regretted it for a long time. And my daughter bought a TJ, and shortly after that, I think about a year after that, you know, I'd drive her Jeep every once in a while, working on it and doing whatever. And I finally just started searching for Jeeps again, and I said, I'm going big or going home, so I went with the Rubicon.
Awesome. That's cool.
It's a 2015 Rubicon Hard Rock Edition with almost 90,000 miles on it. Of course, with the Rubicon, it's got the electronic lockers, it's got the electronic sway bar connect. It's a Hard Rock Edition, so it comes with a custom hood, custom bumpers, and custom rock sliders. I just upgraded the 37-inch tires, and with that upgrade, I also upgraded the brakes to power stop brakes with the drilled and slotted rotors. Terraflex adjustable ball joints, Terraflex HD tie rod, adjustable front track bar. I got 513 Spicer gears. I've got 1310 PEM front and rear drive shafts, a BDS 4-inch lift with some Fox shocks and Terraflex parts mixed into the lift, Midland mobile radio installed, and a marine grade rainproof touchscreen radio. It's got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And of course I got front and rear cameras to record all the action. My next planned upgrades are RCV axles and hopefully a safety cage.
I like that badge of honors on there, FCJ trail.
There you
That
go.
was an awesome trail.
It's a great idea for a great cause.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, we have some badge challenge trails. You can get a badge like the Jeep Badge of Honor for your Jeep. $10. All the proceeds we donate to Honor Flight. About your upgrades and everything. You recently went to 37s. I know it was not too long ago, but what is the difference you've noticed between that 35s and going to 37s?
Well, the first thing we did, it was at Moonlight, right after Waterfall. There's a trail that we tried 2 weeks prior to me getting the 37s, and I kept bottoming out the Jeep on it. And I said, we've got to try it with these 37s. And these sidewalls are a little stiffer, and so it stands a little taller anyways. But the clearance issues, it just made everything more simple. And even on the road, I feel like, even though my tires probably had 30,000 miles on them, the old ones, with these 37s, the bigger tire, it just rides so smooth. And these Patagonias are nice and quiet. And I was telling the girlfriend, hey, I love how this thing's riding now. You know, after the new lift and new tires, it's just smooth as can be. Nice. So I enjoy it.
As everybody can see, we spent some time playing in the woods and mud today. Out at Vandy's Off-Road Park. Is there any advice you would give someone that is thinking about getting into the Jeep life, just bought a Jeep, thinking about getting into the off-road part of it, or just any advice for a new Jeep?
If you don't have a Jeep and you want to join us, call somebody. Call me. I'll take you for a ride, show you what it's all about. Off-roading's not for everybody. You know, it costs money to off-road. I've cut 2 tires in the last year, and you know, at $300 a tire, it gets a little expensive. And you see guys out here bust axles, and unfortunately, I've seen a couple flops, and those get expensive. But if it's something you're looking to do and you're not 100% sure and you don't want to jump in feet first, don't. Come join us and come to one of our meetings or come to one of our off-road events. I'll be happy to take you as a passenger, and I think anybody in the club would do that.
I agree. I think everybody in the club would be willing to do that. Our club is a great family. That's what drew Brendan and I to Austin. Yep. Everybody treated us so well.
Yeah, I saw when Jennifer and Bobby helped get this club up and going. Jennifer and I were friends from high school, and I would see her posts on Facebook, and man, I was jealous. Jealous all the time. And even when I picked this up and I bought it and signed the papers for the loan, I said, Jennifer, just cost me $37,000. You know, yeah. I blamed them, but it was a great thing. I'm glad I'm back into it.
So do I get to blame them for 18,000 in upgrades since I met them too?
Definitely.
Yeah, they're great people. You and Bobby and Jennifer have been my inspiration and to get to where I am today. Like following you guys, I've told you many times how much you guys mean to me.
It's a lifestyle, and it'll change your life for the better.
Yeah.
It really is. Met some great people Jeeping, and plan on sticking with it forever.
Cool, that's awesome to hear. Yep. Okay, we see the name of your Jeep is Crawdad. What inspired that name?
So one day out at Moonlight with a bunch of guys, we're out wheeling, and it was actually a pretty hot summer day and it was dry out, but we were out in the creek driving around and came through some of the mud puddles back there in the woods, and we came out to the field to eat lunch. And I looked down at my bumper and there's a crawfish laying inside the bumper. Unfortunately, he lost his life, but a couple guys, Mr. Perkins was there, and he's like, I said, hey, I think my Jeep just earned its name Crawdad. And he goes, no, Crawl Dad. And I said, that's it, man. It's a keeper. So it's had that name for about 4 years now.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, worked
That's
out
awesome.
well.
So I know you've had a lot of off-roading experience. What would you say is 1 or 2 or 3 of your favorite trails that you've experienced so far in your off-roading career?
That's a hard one. S'more is probably my favorite park, and I think it's a lot of people's favorite parks. I probably wheel at Moonlight more than any other park. And between that one trail and Transfer Case Trail, Transfer Case gets my heart going. It's got some good drop-offs. In fact, we have some trail damage on one of the rock sliders from it last week, and it's the second time I've replaced that rock slider. But you know, it's just part of it. But it gets my anxiety up and gets me excited, you know. And I watched Chuck Callahan drop off this 5-foot, 6-foot embankment, and I could literally roll up on top of his Jeep if he would have stopped and waited. And I thought, this is great. This is the greatest thing ever. And the next thing you know, you're white knuckling it and you're holding on as you fall off this cliff, and it's like, man, that's great. But so S'more is one of my favorite parks. Moonlight, of course, and of course we're at Vandy's today, and Vandy's is probably the smallest park I've ever wheeled at, and it's just the family-friendly atmosphere here that Phil and Carrie put on, and it's probably one of my favorite places to come and relax, which sounds crazy because as we were wheeling today, you heard the girlfriend scream a few times as we were up on 2 wheels. and it's relaxing to come out here and just forget about work, forget about life, forget about the house, and it's just great. So.
And Phil and Carrie treat us amazing.
Oh yeah,
they've been wonderful to our whole everyone in our club.
Yep. It makes a difference.
It does.
So.
What is your favorite mod that you've done?
Ooh, favorite mod. That's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer to that.
It can be a combination.
Yeah, I think when I first bought this, I'm a very budgeted off-roader, very cheap, and that's why I appreciate Roy Teeter saving my butt. He's done a lot of things on the cheap for me, and I can't thank him enough. But I went with a budget lift, and I when you buy the Rubicon, you get the Rubicon springs, the Rubicon shocks, and I was trying to protect that initial investment. So I went with a 2.5-inch budget lift, and this thing was a little bouncy, and it definitely wasn't a sports car with it, and I didn't want it to be. But once I went to the 4-inch BDS lift, it just changed this whole Jeep. And I got more clearance, of course, but the springs, you could tell the springs, the Fox shocks, everything was just essentially better than it was using a budget lift, using pucks and lengthening the shocks with extensions. It was a good buy that I got off of Doc, who was also in the club, and he was tearing down his Jeep, and I think he paid over $2,000 for it, and I paid $1,000 for it. And the shocks didn't last long, and I knew Doc's style on off-roading was pretty hard, and I didn't expect them to last forever, but I've replaced those, and this thing's just smooth going down the road. And I abuse it off-road. On-road, I abuse it towing a 3,000-pound camper around wherever we go, and this thing so far hasn't left us stranded anywhere. It's been pretty bulletproof. So, but one upgrade like that leads to another upgrade. I knew sooner or later a 4-inch lift was going to make me go to 37s, and that's what I did. And I think within 2 months that 4-inch lift tore up my front drive shaft, and Roy Teeter to the rescue again with PEM. I bought the front drive shaft, and then shortly after I bought the front drive shaft, we were out here at Vandy's playing at the top of this waterfall or this creek, and I damaged my rear drive shaft on that little ledge up there, and right back to PEM. I was knocking on their door, hey, I need another drive shaft. So here I am with 2 of them. So
nice. Have any trails on your bucket list or parks on your bucket list you'd like to do in the future?
Yeah, I don't know parks. I've got to look those up. I don't get out of state like you do as much as you do. I do retire in about 11 months from my government job. It'll be my first retirement. I'm definitely going to have to go back to work after about a year off. But I'd like to head west. I want to see Colorado, and I want to see Utah, and find some people to hook up with there, and go with a group and see some things I've never seen before. And I know
talk to us, because we're going back to all that stuff too.
I'm ready. So, but yeah, I'm ready to go west.
It'd be cool to get another trip together and go with you.
I'm down. Let's get it done.
We'll do it. Wow. What would you say would be the most helpful or required modification to start with for someone who's getting into the off-road part of the lifestyle?
Caught me off guard with that one. I would say, a lot of these, especially if you buy new, they come with all-season tires. And if you want to be out here, where it's kind of slick and, a little bit of muddy, you want to get rid of those all-season tires. Consider going to all-terrains. They're pretty good for off-roading. They're probably not the best, but if you're doing a lot of on-road, that's where you're gonna, see a lot of improvement too. But if you really want to step it up, any type of mud terrain, it's just going to make your off-road experience so much better. And if you're not into off-roading, all seasons are the way to go. I get it. Mud terrains are not great in snow. They're not bad in snow either, but all seasons definitely beat them. So in tires, yeah, prices have jumped up 20-30% in the last year, but it's probably one of your best investments and best mods. Unfortunately, as you start doing mods, you want to go big and you want to get better. I've never kept a set of tires until they're wore out. I'm always selling tires and moving up to the next big thing. Or I'm cutting sidewalls out here at Vandy's. Cut a couple out here. But tires, that's a cheap, easy way to go. And if you're really considering mud, getting into the mud a little bit, mud terrains are the way to go. And I talk about that in the 101. They're a lot safer than coming out here in all-season tires. But I've seen Jeeps come out here in all-season tires and do amazing things, completely stop. So that's why Jeeps are so great to me. They're just so versatile, and top on, top off, doors on, doors off. And it's just a great vehicle 12 months out of the year. So I agree.
What would you say would be one of your favorite things about the Jeep life?
Well, the Jeep, of course, is probably one of my favorite things. People don't realize what a stock Jeep can do. And it excites me to see them, especially at 101, which we're getting ready to teach. They'll come out here in a stock Jeep, and even I'm shocked what a stock Jeep is capable of. And it just changes your life. Well, then there's so many upgrades out there. You can make your Jeep what you want it to be. You want to go big or go home, you can go big. You want to go mild, you can go mild. You want to go crazy and wild, you can go wild. There's so much aftermarket for these things and so much support in the community for Jeeps that it's really my favorite thing. I mean, I don't know what else to say about them. They're great. But then the people you meet, Franklin County Jeeps is the only club I'm a true member of. I do follow other clubs and hang out with them, and I'm sure all the other clubs are just the same, but you meet these people and they become friends, they become family. Roy Teeter last night helped me out in the last minute pinch, and he's done that for me a few times. And you just can't find people like that everywhere. Chuck Callahan does the same thing for people. He's got a shop and he has people over and he fixes their Jeeps and helps them and teaches them. And I've learned a lot from Roy and Bobby Nelson, and it's people like that that just make this club what it is. And it's part of my family. Everybody that's connected to me, whether it's at work, our family at home, our family out of state, they know about Franklin County Jeeps, and I love
awesome.
it. Yeah. So
That's so cool. Okay, you were a former president. What inspired you to run for president, be in charge technically of the club? And
I hate to keep dropping names, but I blame Bobby Nelson. Bobby Nelson, he wanted to take some time away from being president, and he got Tyler involved and then Ginger involved, and he kept coming up behind me and rubbing my shoulders. Hey, one of these days, that's you up there. And he had great vision for the club, but he knows that bringing somebody new in, they have fresh ideas, and he was kind of looking for it. And I started out as the social media coordinator, and I came up with New Member Mondays, and I think that's think that's one of those nice changes that really made people feel part of the family, because
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't know you, but you're already
Mhm.
tagging them in a comment and saying welcome to the club, and then 10, 20, 30 people behind you say welcome, and you know, it makes them feel welcome, and I think it gets them out to meetings, it gets them out to rides, and you know, just it's a life changer. But it's a lot of hard work, and I appreciate you stepping up and taking those reins now, because it's a ton of work to be a coordinator. But you know, after we're always chasing that big donation for Honor Flight, and that was always the end goal. You know, how much can we do for Honor Flight? And it's one of the things you've changed. And Honor Flight used to be a one-time per year thing, and now it's every day. We're working towards, you know, $10 here, $20 there, and it all adds up, and it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's a good cause, and
Yep.
whatever we can do to help raise more money and send more men and women on those flights to,
Yep.
you know, show our appreciation for what they fought for and how we get to do this every day. All right, well, Raymond, thank you for being a guest.
Thank you,
on
President.
FCJ Jeep Talk.
First lady behind the camera.
And if anybody would be interested in being a guest, contact me through Messenger, and we'll interview you, and you'll get to talk about your life, Jeep life, and your Jeep. So until the next time.